Have you ever thought that without speaking, you could understand what's going on in someone's mind? Someone is lying. Someone is hiding something from you, or someone secretly likes you. If you learn to read all this, your life can completely change. In this audiobook, we'll learn powerful psychology techniques through which you'll be able to read people without them saying anything. Chapter 1. The Secret of Human Behavior. Ready to hear the truth? Most people in the world don't even understand themselves, yet they try to understand others. But if you really want to read people, you'll have to accept one brutal truth. Every human is controlled. Yes, controlled. No one is completely free. Every human is driven by three invisible forces: emotions, desires, and fear. Emotions. This is what makes humans irrational. When someone is angry, logic dies. When someone is in love, reality stops being visible. And when someone is sad, they make decisions that later break them. Desires. Now let's talk about desires. Every human wants something: respect, attention, power, love. And these desires drive their actions. Why does someone work hard? Because they want success. Why does someone lie? Because they want to avoid loss. Simple. Humans do what gets them something. Fear. Now the most dangerous force. Fear. Fear controls humans. Silently. Fear of rejection. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. This fear stops humans, keeps them small, and many times makes them fake. Now listen carefully. What people say is irrelevant, because words can be manipulated, but actions never lie. If someone says they respect you but ignores you, what's the truth? Their behavior. If someone says they're busy but makes time for others, what's the truth? Their priority. Therefore, if you want to understand people, don't watch their words, watch their patterns. Observe their actions, because in the end, a person is what they repeatedly do. And the day you understand this, no one will be able to easily manipulate you. Chapter 2. Body language. The silent truth. If you really want to understand people, fix one thing in your mind forever. The body never lies. Words can lie. Stories can be created. Excuses can be given. But the body always reveals truth. And the problem is, most people listen more and see less. That's why they get deceived again and again. Now understand carefully. Contact. When someone avoids eye contact while talking to you, it's not just shyness. It can be nervousness, guilt. They're hiding something. Because when a person is truly confident, they don't avoid eye contact. Crossed arms. Now let's talk about crossed arms. When someone crosses their arms, they're not just relaxing. They're protecting themselves. Defensive mindset, closed thinking, lack of trust. Meaning, they're not open to you. Leaning forward. Now see the opposite. Leaning forward. When someone leans toward you, it means interest, engagement, curiosity. They're invested in your words. But if someone is leaning back, creating distance, understand they've mentally disconnected. Face touching. Now a subtle but powerful signal. Touching the face. When someone repeatedly touches their face, rubs their nose, presses their lips, this isn't a random habit. This is anxiety, discomfort, or a signal of stress. The body is trying to release that pressure. Now listen to the most brutal truth. People control with their words, but get exposed by their body. No person is a perfect actor. At some moment, their body brings out their truth. And if you've learned to observe, you'll see what others miss. And seriously remember this, don't trust words. Trust the body. Because words will confuse you, but the body will give you clarity. Now ask yourself a question. Do you just listen, or do you really observe? Because the day you start reading people's body language, you'll start seeing the truth hidden behind their words. And then no one will be able to easily fool you. Chapter 3. Micro-expressions. Hidden facial signals. If you really want to understand people, you have to learn to read them not from their words, but from their face. Because the real truth isn't hidden in words. It's hidden in micro-expressions. What are micro-expressions? These are emotions that a person can't hide even if they want to. The problem is, these appear only for a fraction of a second, so fast that most people can't even notice. And this is why people get deceived again and again. Now listen carefully. Any person can control their words, but they can't always control their face, because emotions are automatic. Fake smile versus real smile. The first signal. Fake smile versus real smile. Most people fake smile. But what's the difference? Real smile goes to the eyes. Cheeks naturally rise. Face is relaxed. Fake smile, limited to lips only. No emotion in eyes. Looks forced. So next time when someone smiles at you, don't just watch the lips. Observe the eyes. Sudden eyebrow raise. Now the second powerful signal. Sudden eyebrow raise. When someone suddenly raises their eyebrows, it's a sign of surprise or curiosity. But if this reaction seems unnatural or doesn't match the situation, understand something is fake. Lips tightening. Now the third and dangerous signal. Lips tightening. When someone presses their lips or suddenly tightens them, it means they're hiding something, or holding themselves back, or uncomfortable inside. This is that moment where truth wants to come out, but the person stops it. Now listen to the most brutal reality. People act, but not with perfection. Every person slips somewhere, and that micro moment reveals their real truth. But the problem is, you don't have the habit of seeing. You listen, you believe, you judge at surface level. And this is why it becomes easy to manipulate you. Now, if you want to become powerful, you'll have to slow down. Observe faces. Read reactions. Catch inconsistencies. Because micro-expressions are that truth of a person that they don't want to show you. And the day you learn to catch these signals, you'll learn to recognize lies. You'll start seeing fake people. And you'll start understanding real intentions. And most importantly, no one will be able to easily deceive you. Remember, people create stories with their words, but their face always leaks the truth. You just have to learn to catch that leak. Chapter 4. Pattern Recognition. The real shortcut to mind reading. If you think mind reading is some magic, you're wrong. This isn't a superpower. This is pattern recognition. Yes, every person has a pattern. And the most shocking thing, they themselves are unaware of their own pattern. Now understand carefully, every person repeats how they speak, how they react, what things make them emotional, how they behave in which situation. All this isn't random. This is their pattern. And patterns never lie. Now a brutal truth. A person claims to change, but their behavior rarely changes. They repeat the same mistakes, give the same reactions, follow the same habits. Only situations change. Patterns don't. Now imagine, you're observing someone. You notice, in stress, they become aggressive. For attention, they overtalk. They fear rejection and avoid it. What are these three things? Their pattern. Now, if you know their pattern, you don't need to become a mind reader to predict their next move. You already know what they'll do. This is the real power. The problem, most people don't observe. They just react. Someone behaves well equals they trust immediately. Someone behaves badly equals they get emotional immediately. But what do smart people do? They observe, they compare, and they identify patterns. Because once the pattern is visible, the illusion ends. Now listen. If someone repeatedly breaks promises, they're not busy. They're unreliable. If someone always shifts blame in every argument, they're not misunderstood. They're avoiding accountability. If someone only contacts you when they need something, they're not caring. They're opportunistic. This may sound harsh, but this is reality. Patterns expose what words hide. Now, if you want to master this skill, you'll have to do 3 things. First, observe silently. Notice every small thing. Words, tone, reactions, timing, everything. Second, focus on repeated behavior. One-time action isn't important, but repeated action is truth. Third, analyze without emotion, because emotions will blind you, but patterns will give you clarity. Now, the final point. Mind reading isn't a guess. It's a calculated observation. And the day you develop this skill, you won't need to listen to people's excuses. You won't believe in fake promises. And you'll know in advance who's real with you and who's just role-playing. Remember, person can change, but their pattern always reveals first. You just have to learn to see it. Chapter 5. Words versus intent. Recognize the real meaning. If you still trust what people say, then hear the truth. You can be easily manipulated. Because what's the biggest illusion in the world? Words. What people say and what they really mean, these two are often different. And this gap confuses you. Now, a simple example. Someone says, "I'm fine," but their tone is low. Face is dull. No eye contact. So are they really fine? No. They're just saying they're fine, but feeling something else. And this is the difference. Words versus intent. Now, a brutal truth. People rarely say what they truly feel. Why? Because they're afraid of being judged. They want to avoid conflict. They want to control the situation. Therefore, they choose words that are safe, socially acceptable. But those don't reflect their real intent. Now understand, when someone says no problem, it doesn't always mean there's really no problem. Many times it means, it matters to me, but I don't want to show it. When someone says, do as you think is right, it doesn't mean they're neutral. Now understand. How to recognize intent? Through 3 things. First, tone. How is the person speaking? Fast? Slow? Hesitant? Confident? Tone reveals a lot that words hide. Second, face. Are expressions matching or not? Is the smile genuine or forced? Are eyes connecting or avoiding? Third, behavior. Do their actions match their words? If not, don't guess. Trust actions. Now, the most important thing. Words can be controlled, but intent leaks somehow. In some form, in tone, in expression, or in behavior. And if you've learned to catch these leaks, you'll never have confusion. Now ask yourself, do you just listen, or do you really understand? Because listening is easy, but understanding is power. Many times it means, I disagree, but don't want to argue. And when someone says, I'm busy, it doesn't always mean they don't have time. It can mean, you're not my priority. Now, if you only listen to words, you'll always stay at surface level. And at surface level, you don't find truth. And the day you start reading the intent hidden behind words, no one will be able to impress you with sweet talk. No one will be able to fool you with fake promises. And you'll instantly recognize who's real and who's just talking. Remember, words create stories, but intent tells truth. And if you want to become powerful, learn to see truth, not stories. Chapter 6. Observation power. The real superpower. If you think mind reading is some magical skill, then hear the truth. This isn't magic. This is observation. And the brutal truth is, most people aren't even looking. Yes, their eyes are open, but their attention is closed. They listen. They react. But they don't observe. And this is why they repeatedly trust wrong people. They repeatedly get deceived. And they can't understand what the other person really is. Now, if you want to become powerful, you'll have to master one skill: observation. Because observation is that thing which shows you what others miss. Now understand, observation doesn't just mean seeing. It's noticing, analyzing, Connecting. First thing, notice small details, because truth is always hidden in small details. How someone sits, how they speak, how quickly they reply, what they react to. All this isn't random. These are signals. And if you ignore them, you'll miss the whole picture. Now the second thing, pay attention to changes, because a person doesn't remain constant. If someone suddenly changes, was friendly before, now distant, was open before, now closed, was interested before, now ignoring, then this isn't coincidence. This is a signal. Something has changed, and you have to notice it. Now the third and most powerful thing, compare behavior. One isolated action doesn't prove anything, but repeated pattern reveals truth. How they behave with you versus how they behave with others. If there's a difference, understand, their intent with you is different. Now the most brutal reality. People show what they want you to see, but they can't hide what they really are. And observation is that skill which exposes this gap. Now the problem, you trust quickly, you judge quickly, you make decisions at surface level. But what do observers do? They don't rush, they watch quietly, they take time, then draw conclusions. And this is why they're rarely wrong. Now ask yourself, do you just listen, or do you really see? Because the day you start taking observation seriously, you won't have to depend on people's words. You'll instantly see fake behavior. You'll understand situations in advance. And most importantly, you'll come into control. Because knowledge isn't power. Right observation is real power. Remember, the world is filled with two types of people. 1. Those who believe whatever is shown. 2. Those who see for themselves what the truth is. Now decide. Who do you want to become? Chapter 7. The responsibility of power. What you've learned till now isn't normal knowledge. This is power. But like every power, this is also dangerous. And the truth is, these skills can either take you ahead of people or distance you from them. Everything depends on how you use it. Now, a brutal truth. If you use these skills for manipulation to control people, confuse them, take advantage of them, then maybe short-term you'll win. But long-term, you'll lose trust. Relationships will break. People will move away from you. Because humans can tolerate everything, but not betrayal. Now see the other side. If you use these skills for awareness to better understand people, avoid conflicts, build strong connections, then these skills will become your biggest strength. You'll recognize right people. You'll avoid wrong people. And you'll make your circle powerful. Therefore, remember, skills are neutral, but intention makes them good or bad. Now the final point, and seriously understand this. Power without respect is dangerous, and knowledge without positive intention is useless. Therefore, whenever you use these skills, use from awareness, not ego, for clarity, not control. Only then this knowledge won't bring you down. It'll lift you up. Now the question, do these skills really work? Answer is simple, only when you practice. Because knowledge doesn't become power by listening, it becomes power by applying. Now a brutal truth. Most people learn but don't change. They listen, they agree, but they don't take action. And therefore their life remains the same. But if you want to be different, you'll have to practice. In every conversation, observe, analyze, catch patterns, understand intent. Gradually your mind will start getting trained. And then a point will come where you won't have to put effort. You'll instantly be able to read people. You'll recognize fake behavior. You'll automatically avoid manipulation. And the biggest change, you'll become confident. Because now you're not guessing. You're understanding. Now the final and most important transformation. You'll start understanding yourself. You'll see your patterns, your fears, your weaknesses, your habits. And when a person understands themselves, no one can control them. Remember, Mastery doesn't come overnight, but consistent practice makes you unstoppable. Now the choice is yours. Will you leave this knowledge after listening? Or will you use it to take yourself to the next level? The truth about mind reading is not magic. It's not psychic ability. It's observation, seeing what others miss, pattern recognition, connecting repeated behaviors, understanding psychology, knowing what drives humans, reading body language, the silent truth, catching micro-expressions, the facial leaks, separating words from intent, what's really meant. When you master these, you'll know when someone is lying. You'll know when someone is uncomfortable. You'll know when someone likes you. You'll know when someone is manipulating. You'll know when someone is genuine. But most importantly, you'll understand yourself better. And self-awareness is the ultimate power. The three invisible forces. Remember what drives every human. 1. Emotions making them irrational. 2. Desires driving their actions. 3. Fear controlling them silently. Understand these in yourself and others, and you'll predict behavior before it happens. Final brutal truth. People are controlled by these forces. Most don't even realize it. But now you know, and knowledge separates you from the crowd. The choice. Use this power wisely. Use it for awareness, not manipulation. Use it to build, not destroy. Because the moment you misuse it, you lose the very thing that makes you powerful, trust. Your next step. Start today. In your next conversation, watch the body language. Catch the micro-expressions. Listen for intent, not just words. Notice the patterns. Observe silently. And gradually, you'll become the person who sees what no one else sees. If you liked this audiobook, like the video, comment, "I'm learning mind reading," and subscribe to the channel, because here you learn skills that school never teaches.